Collectors always shocked about this coin watch tell, "And you don't believed this coin history." Imagine holding a coin so small yet so powerful that it could instantly change your life. Imagine a single penny, the kind most people toss aside or forget in a drawer, being worth millions of dollars. Yes, millions. Now picture this, the 1943 Lincoln 1-cent coin. A coin so rare and mysterious that collectors around the world have fought for decades to own it. This is not just a piece of copper or steel. It is a piece of history, an accident of war, and a ticket to unimaginable wealth for the lucky few who discover it. And right now, you might be closer to owning one than you think. This story will shock you because buried inside the simple design of a penny lies one of the greatest treasures in American coin history. The Lincoln cent, first minted in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, was already one of the most collected and beloved coins in the United States. But in 1943, something extraordinary happened. The world was at war, and every piece of copper was needed to build ammunition, shell casings, and critical wartime equipment. The U.S. Mint made the bold decision to change the composition of the cent. Instead of the usual copper and zinc, the 1943 Lincoln penny was struck in steel coated with zinc, giving it a silvery, shiny appearance. Billions of these steel cents were produced in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. For most Americans, this was just another adjustment to the demands of war. But for a few lucky ones, a mistake occurred that would echo through history. In the chaos of wartime production, a tiny handful of 1943 Lincoln cents were accidentally struck on leftover copper planchets from 1942. Instead of being shiny and silver like the steel versions, these rare errors were the familiar reddish-brown copper color. At first, no one noticed. These coins slipped into circulation, hidden among millions of ordinary pennies. But when collectors began to notice their existence, the race to find them began. Today, these 1943 copper pennies are among the most famous and valuable coins in U.S. history. A single one of them has sold for over $1.7 million at auction, and others have been valued anywhere between $100,000 and $1 million, depending on condition. Think about that. A coin worth 1 cent could actually buy you a mansion, a luxury car, or even set your family up for generations. But the story doesn't end there. The steel cents themselves became a unique chapter in American history. Because they were made from zinc-coated steel, they often rusted, corroded, or wore down easily in circulation. Some Americans even mistook them for dimes because of their silver appearance. In fact, the coins were so unpopular that the mint abandoned the steel composition after just 1 year, returning to a mix of copper and zinc in 1944. That single year of steel pennies gave birth to countless rumors, myths, and searches for errors that could change lives. And in rare cases, it really did. Imagine being a child in the 1940s, picking up a penny from the sidewalk, not realizing it could be worth more than a lifetime of wages. Or imagine being a collector today, going through a jar of old coins and spotting the unmistakable copper shine of a 1943 penny that should never have existed. This isn't a fantasy, it has happened. Some of the most valuable coins in history have been discovered in old collections, piggy banks, or pocket change. Every time a 1943 copper penny comes to light, the coin world erupts in excitement, and another record-breaking sale takes place. One of the most famous examples occurred when a teenager named Don Lutz Jr. found a 1943 copper penny in his pocket change in Massachusetts. For years he kept it, not realizing the full value of his discovery. Decades later, his coin was authenticated and went to auction, where it sold for an incredible $204,000. And his was not even the highest-graded specimen. Another example, known as the Red-Brown MS-63, sold for $1.7 million in 2010. Collectors know that only a few dozen of these copper errors exist, making them far rarer than many gold coins or historical relics. Each one is essentially a lottery ticket hidden in plain sight. But here's where it gets even more shocking. Not all 1943 Lincoln cents are the same. There are steel pennies that were accidentally struck on bronze planchets, and there are even rare variations where the steel cents show doubled designs, striking errors, or unique toning that increase their value into the thousands. Even ordinary 1943 steel cents, if found in pristine condition with no rust or discoloration, can sell for hundreds of dollars to the right buyer. For example, a high-grade 1943 steel cent with a perfect shine has sold for over $20,000 at auction. That means the next coin you see, even if it looks ordinary, might not be so ordinary after all. The thrill of the 1943 penny lies in its dual nature. On one hand, the steel cent was mass-produced, a symbol of wartime sacrifice representing millions of American families contributing to the fight. On the other, the accidental copper strikes represent chance, luck, and the idea that hidden treasure could be lurking where you least expect it. This duality is what makes the 1943 Lincoln cent legendary. Every collector dreams of finding one, and every story of discovery inspires a new generation to check their pocket change. So, what should you do if you think you have a 1943 copper penny? First, don't get fooled by counterfeits. Because of their high value, many fake copper 1943 cents have been created by coating steel cents to look like copper, or altering 1948 pennies to resemble 1943 by shaving the number 8. A real 1943 copper penny will not stick to a magnet because it lacks the steel core and it will weigh slightly more than the steel version. If you have one, the next step is authentication by a professional coin grading service. Only then can you unlock the true value of this incredible piece of history. The allure of the 1943 Lincoln penny is more than just money. It is a connection to America's past. It represents sacrifice during World War II, the ingenuity of the mint, and the unpredictability of human error. It reminds us that even in the smallest things, a coin barely larger than your fingertip, greatness and fortune can be hidden. That is why collectors spend their lives hunting for it, and why the discovery of each new specimen makes headlines worldwide. Right now, millions of steel cents from 1943 still exist, but only a handful of copper ones are known. Could there still be undiscovered examples sitting in someone's attic, or hidden in a forgotten jar of pennies? Absolutely, and that is why people keep searching. Imagine the shock of realizing that a penny tossed aside in your family's coin jar is actually worth $1 million. Imagine the rush of holding in your hand a coin that collectors have dreamed about for decades. That is the power of the 1943 Lincoln cent. So the next time you come across an old penny, don't dismiss it. Don't assume it's worthless. Look closely, check the date, and pay attention to the shine. Because one day, you might be the person who uncovers the next 1943 copper penny. And in that moment, you won't just be holding a coin, you'll be holding a fortune, a legacy, and a story that will shock the world. The Lincoln cent may be small, but in 1943, it became larger than life. And for those who find one, it still is.